When we say reading comprehension, what do we mean by reading comprehension? What is there? For example, what is this? Number one.
Text with
there is the text, okay? So reading comprehension, it means there is a
text.
When there is a text, and of course,
we have question.
Yes, before talking about questions, the person who writes the text, what do we call him?
Narrator.
He is the, that's narrator. Good, yes. So you have a
writer.
So when there is a text, there is necessarily, automatically, there is a writer. And also, there is another name for the writer. What do we call him? You can call him a writer or author. So you have the writer or the author. And, of course, a writer, he writes a text. Does he write the text for himself?
No.
He writes the text for?
Lectures.
So one writes and the other one is going, yes, a reader. So your job is to understand the text, and you should also know what the writer wants to tell us, because every writer, he has what? He has a message. When he writes something, there is a message in this text. So this is what you should understand. When you read something, you should look for the message. Today we're going to divide our class into 3 parts. The first part, number 1. In this part, we are going to discover all the strategies and the tricks that you can use to understand a text. And, no, of course, when you understand a text, you are not going to stop there. You are going to have questions. Questions after the text. So the second part is going to be about what? Reading.
Comprehension.
Comprehension.
Exercises.
Today we are going to see with real examples how we can explain, how we can understand, and how we can answer these questions as perfectly as possible. Right. And of course, an example of the most important part when we finish, you are going to work on an example, or we call it a sample of a previous national exams, and you are going to have the opportunity to practice here everything that you have learned in number 1 and in number 2. Do you expect, it means what do you think the text will be about? Is it going to be about A? What is A, Sarah? Modern Australia, or B?
Australian history.
Australian history. So what do you think the right answer is? B. Why? Yes, I guess you all agree it's B. But you haven't read the text. How can you be so sure that it's Yes, by looking at what? By looking at pictures. So sometimes, before reading a text, you can have an idea about the content. You can have an idea about the meaning of the text just by looking at what? Sometimes pictures. You haven't read the text, and you didn't look at any special paragraphs, but just you used your eyes very quickly and you discovered the meaning. So in English, this is what we call, you have just what? Survey. What do you mean by survey? Survey, you survey a text. It means you run your eyes
quickly over.
Yes, you just say, you understand the run? Run, it's like this. You run your eyes quickly over something. So this is what we call survey. No, survey. When you survey a text, do you survey the text? Is it before reading, when you are reading, or after reading?
Before reading.
Right, so we're going to say this. So you survey, you must survey. So this is the question. When? The answer is what? Before reading. Right. Now, what do we survey? What do we look for when we survey?
Idea.
For example, here in this example, what do we have? Right, that's good. So here, for example, pictures. What else can we survey, can we have a look at, and can give us an indication or can help us have an idea about a text? Headings. What do you mean by headings? Headings are what? Sometimes before you read a paragraph, you have a title of a paragraph. This is what we call a heading or a title of a paragraph. And of course, when you have a heading, you can have the most important title, and under it you can have a... That's good, yes. So headings, and you can have also subheadings. What else? When we say a text at the top, it can have what? A title. So you can also look at a title. This picture here, the people on this picture. Do you think these people are modern Australians?
No.
No, of course. And if you look at this picture, does it talk about old Australia or modern Australia?
Old Australia.
So all this picture, they give you an idea about the text. And before even reading it, you have what we call the big picture. You have a big picture. Pictures, headings, subheadings, titles. Sometimes you can have also what we call captions. What is a caption? A caption, sometimes you can find a picture like this and you can find a little description of the picture. So captions, it means descriptions of pictures. So they also give you an idea about the meaning. And sometimes when you read a text, you can find a little information at the bottom of the text. This is what we call, yes, it can give you the reference or where the text is taken from. Because it's at the bottom of the text, we call it a footnote. You should look at these things in order to have, as I said, the big picture about the text. What else do you need to survey before you read a text? Sometimes you can have an idea about the text by looking at what? Colors, because sometimes in a text you can find different colors. For example, if you find the pink, what does it mean, the writer? Is he optimistic or pessimistic? He's optimistic. So sometimes the color can give you an idea about pessimistic or optimistic. This is what we call the tone of the text. We're going to see this afterwards. It's very important. Colors, captions, all these things, they are very important while you are surveying. Now, of course, when you are surveying, now, why are you surveying? This is the big question. Why?
Why
do we survey?
The general idea.
That's good, yes. I'm going to call it an overview. I just took your word and I rephrased it. I used another word. To have an overview, it means to have a general idea about a text, right? Now, why is it, in your opinion, why is it important to have an overview about a text before you start doing the reading comprehension exercises? You are going to be much more comfortable. So when you look for the general idea, this is what we call skimming. It means you don't look for details, you look for something very general. Look at this text. It's not, of course, it's not a letter, isn't it? Is it a letter? No. No. So it means that you are going to look at...
Structure.
You have an idea about the structure. When we say structure, to make it very easy, it means what type of
the text.
What type of text is it? So when you survey a text, it gives you an idea about organization of a text. The organization of a text. The organization of a text, it means this. We are going to explain this. How a text is organized. Sometimes it can be organized, number one, in what type of order? When we talk about time, chronological order. Right. So what type? Do you still remember when we talked about writing? So what type of text is this? Narrative. Second, sometimes you can have yes, an argumentative. It means you have what? You have, that's right. The writer, he used what? Contrast, opposition, and what else, Esma? And comparison. So far, it's only, what are we doing? We are only surveying. Please, I want you to try to write this between 2 to 3 minutes. So, what do you think? Is it time to read the text now? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, all right. Because it's logical. First, you just surveyed the text.
Yes.
After that, you read only parts of the text. Now you can read, this is what we call, now you are going to read the first general reading. And of course, I want you to pay attention to this. It's the general reading. Why is it the general reading? Because at this stage, you are not answering any questions. You don't look at the questions of the comprehension exercises. What you should look at, the key words. Any text has keywords. It means the most important words in a text which opens the meaning for you. B, you are going to concentrate now on the author, the writer. How? You are going to see what is his opinion. And also we said something about what?
About purpose.
The purpose. The purpose from a text, it can be to explain, it can be to urge, to inform, to, for example, to warn. Do you understand this word?
No.
For example, when something is dangerous, I warn you. It means I show you the danger so that you do it or you avoid it. You avoid it. What do we do in the first general reading?
We survey.
We look for what? We look for
The keywords.
the keywords.
Then author.
Author, and we pay attention to
His
the
opinion.
the purpose, and the tone of the text. Now we're going to talk about the most serious part of reading comprehension, which is exercises, right? But before doing exercises, you should understand one thing. So questions are not asked, or you are not asked to give direct information. Most of the time, you are asked to understand information and then give it. Now, of course, we are not going just to say it, but we are going to do it. We're going to have an example in order to see clearly what we mean when we say that questions in comprehension exercises are not direct. Look at number 1. Can you read, please? Hitler. Yes?
Hitler disparaged
From this word.
in
1945.
In 1945. Suppose, imagine this is the sentence that you have in the text. But the question is not going to be when did Hitler disappear from this word. This is the question that you can have, for example, in the exam. When did Hitler die? What did I do? Did I use the same words as in the text?
No.
No. Look, I replaced disappear with what? With die. So in the national exam, in any exams, when in reading comprehension, don't expect, it means you are not going to find questions using the same words as in the text. It means that questions are, so this is the word, are rephrased. It means they use other words. But of course, it's the same idea. We only replace what? We only replace words. Now, there is something else. There are two types of course, implicit and explicit when we are talking about what?
meaning.
The meaning, the content of the text. Right, now let's start with the types of questions. First type is the type of question which they always start the reading comprehension questions with. The title, right? So the first question that may be given in the national exam or any reading comprehension exam or exercise is, can you read the, choose
Choose the best title for the passage.
What does this question mean? So I prefer to say it's what? It's an instruction. An instruction, it means this is what you should do. Choose the best title for the passage. So here, of course, you have choices. They don't ask you to give. Sometimes they don't give you choices, but they don't say choose. They say give. It means you are going to look for a good title from the text. But now it's easy. You have 3. If you want to find the title for a text, what is the best idea to find it quickly? The title, you can take it from what? From the general idea of the text. So first, you have to be very logical. You survey the text, the general idea, and from the general idea, you can take the title. So what could be the best title for the strategy to find the title? It means you should look at your general idea and you can find the title, because the title it sums up the text. Right. Number 2, what is the second type of question that you may have? Could you read, Abdrahim?
Yes.
Tick, number 2.
Check the question that the passenger answer.
Answers, okay? Tick. Now, of course, when we say tick, we call this a tick. And this one, it's what? It's a cross. It means, if you use this one, it means that tick the question that the passage answer. You are going to choose only the questions which have an answer in the passage. This is the third type of question that you can have. And I guess you are very familiar with this type of question. Can you read, Wian?
Are these sentences true, false, justified?
Right. So number 1, when you answer, you must determine if the sentence is true or false.
Yes.
So you write, for example, true, and then you justify. Or you write false, then justify. But never just stop here. If you stop here, the answer is not correct. Because what is important for me as a corrector? I want to see if you have understood, so I need your justification. So justification, it means you are going to look for proof from the text which show that this is true or false. The fourth type is what? Asma?
Answer the question according to the text.
The central word here is what?
According.
According. It means it's not in your opinion. Be careful. According to the text. Let's see now the sixth type of reading comprehension question that you may have in the national exam. Number 6, could you read? Complete. Yunus, complete.
From
The passage. In this type of question, you have only half the idea, only the first part of the idea, and it's your job to what? To complete the idea from the passage. Number 7. Yes, Najwa, what do
the
underlined words
in the text refer to?
Yes. What do the underlined words in the text refer to? You see here we have, this question is about what? Refer to. It means sometimes, like this example, the train arrived to the station late or later than its usual time. If I underline this, I'm going to ask you, what does this replace in the sentence? It means, what does it refer to? When I'm asking a question, because is it definite or indefinite? Indefinite. So when I'm asking reference, you should give me a definite reference in order to make the meaning complete. So what does it refer to? The train. You see here, reference sometimes can be only one word, but sometimes it can be more than one word. The waves were very high. This made our voyage very uncomfortable. What does this refer to? Does it refer only to the waves? It's not only the waves, it's the waves were very high. So sometimes the reference can be one word, and sometimes it can be
Expression.
It can be a phrase. It means it can be more than one word. So you should pay attention to this. Number 8, find,
In the text.
yes,
Find in the text word or phrases which mean the same
Think of.
the
Think,
same
think
as. It means that in the text you are going to look for
The meaning.
what? For
Equivalent.
equivalence. This exercise, it's about what? It's about vocabulary. For example, but the thing that you should pay attention to here. So if I give you here, for example, if I give you this word, is it a verb, a noun, or an adjective?
Adjective.
Adjective. So in the text you should look for what?
Adjective.
Adjective. So when you have an adjective, you must look for
Adjective.
an adjective. If you have a word with ing, you should look for the
ing.
word with the what? A synonym, it means the equivalent, but it should have an ing. If you have a noun, you look for a noun. A verb, you look for a verb. So this exercise is very easy if you understand that you are going to limit your answer. Adjective, adjective, and also here, sometimes they even give you the number of the paragraph so that you can they can limit your search. Right, now we arrive at the last type of question.
Match the word or expression with the right
Explanations
according to the passage.
according to the passage. One thing which is very important about English is that sometimes a word can have more than one explanation. And you are, of course, you know this. But in this type of question, we are asked to give the right explanation, not as you have read in a dictionary, but what? According to the passage. Let me give you an example. For example, you have the word formidable. The word formidable doesn't have one meaning. It has different meanings. For example, we say
Amazing.
a formidable pianist. Is it a good or a terrible pianist?
Good.
Yes. But for example, when we say a formidable task, job, does it mean an easy or a difficult job?
Difficult.
A difficult. So we have two different meanings. But sometimes we can have this meaning in a text. So you should always answer the question according to the meaning in the passage. For example, wonder drug. According to the text, what does it mean? Surprising drug, miracle drug, beautiful drug, or bad drug?
Miracle.
That's good, yes. So the right answer from the text is miracle, which means a magical drug. All right, so we are going to wrap up this session, but before we wrap up, I'd like you to, are going to do a little review of what you have done. So what is the first thing we do before we answer the questions
We
in a
start
text?
by survey.
So first we survey,
Yeah.
right. After that, we look for what?
Under
We look for the general
idea.
idea. Then we do the general reading. In the general reading, we look for keywords and we pay attention to what the author wants to say. And then, finally, you can read the questions and you can find the answers from the text. You are going to be very comfortable doing this. Do you have any questions?
No.
Right. Take your time, copy this. And for me, I'm going to say goodbye and see you next time for we're going to have more practice in this. Thanks.
Thank you.